You ever have one of those moments where it feels like everything is just falling apart? Well, today on The Explainer, we're going to dive into a really powerful story that gets right to the heart of that feeling. It explores how sometimes the most unexpected opportunities can pop up in our absolute darkest times.
So our story kicks off at rock bottom. Picture this. A young man has just been robbed of everything he owns. He goes to a wise saint, and he's not just upset, he is completely broken. And he asks a question that I think we've all asked when we're really hurting. How can this possibly be good?
Now, faced with this kind of raw grief, the saint does something kind of unexpected. He doesn't just say, "Oh, it'll be okay." Nope. Instead, he starts to tell a story, a parable, really. It's meant to unpack that phrase we've all heard, the one that can be so frustrating. Everything happens for a reason.
And so, the story within the story begins. We meet this poor farmer whose entire life gets just completely turned upside down by a massive, devastating flood. You can just feel how catastrophic this is about to be. And the loss is total. I mean, there is absolutely nothing left. No food, no shelter, no safety net. The entire foundation of their life just gone, wiped away.
And right here, this is where we see the real conflict pop up. On one side, you've got the son, who has this almost radical sense of faith, and on the other, there's the farmer, who's just full of this completely understandable anger and despair. And that tension, that's what's going to drive the whole story.
From this point, man, things just go from bad to worse. The farmer's anger gets so bad, he actually drives his own son away. Then he tries to find work in the city, and that fails. Each step just pushes him deeper and deeper into this pit of hopelessness.
So here he is, at his absolute lowest, and the farmer asks that same question all over again, the one from the very beginning of our explainer. He's totally lost. And who could blame him, right? From where he's standing, there is no way any good can come from all this suffering.
But just when it seems like things are completely bleak, the whole story pivots. A single chance meeting is about to change absolutely everything for the farmer.
So he runs into another saint on the road. But this guy doesn't just offer him food or money. He actually repeats what the farmer's son said, telling him that what happened was for the best and that only time would show him why. You can imagine how frustrating that advice must be for a man who just wants a break.
And then, what do you know? It's amazing! Almost right after this weird encounter, the farmer's luck does a complete 180. He gets a great job with a really kind boss who gives him good pay and a new house for his family. All of a sudden, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, so this is where all the different puzzle pieces really start to click into place. The story is building towards this big reveal where the farmer's personal tragedy starts to look like, well, something else entirely.
I mean, can you imagine the farmer's shock? He opens his door one night, and standing right there is the son he threw out in anger. The son he probably thought he'd lost forever. It's just this incredibly powerful emotional reunion.
So the son explains his story. It turns out that being forced to leave home, that awful, terrible moment, was the very thing that pushed him to go out, become independent, and find success. He didn't just get by, he actually thrived, building this whole new life from scratch.
All right, so the farmer's story now makes a kind of sense. But let's not forget the young man listening to all this, the one who got robbed at the beginning. He's still not convinced. He interrupts the saint and asks, pretty reasonably, "Okay, great story, but my stuff was stolen. What could possibly be good about that?"
And the saint, he just smiles. He explains that after the robbery, he went back and found something that the thieves had missed, something they dropped in their rush to get away. It wasn't money or jewels. It was this single strange stone that seemed to be glowing from the inside. And as we find out, this wasn't just any old rock. It was the legendary Philosopher stone, a magical object that can create infinite wealth. And then it just clicks for the young man. Getting robbed, the absolute worst moment of his life, was the only reason he was in that exact place at that exact time to find a treasure worth so much more than anything he could have possibly lost. So, what's the real lesson here from both of these stories? Well, the saint's point isn't just about happy endings. It's really about the process and about perspective. So let's break down the main takeaways. First, time changes everything. Our immediate view of a situation is always super limited. Second, painful moments do pass. And that's not just a nice thought. Psychologists call it post-traumatic growth, where people can experience real positive change after going through something awful. Third, and this is a big one, never make huge, life-altering decisions when you're in a bad place. The farmer's anger nearly cost him his son.
And finally, the story asks us to have patience, to think that maybe, just maybe, even the worst situations can lead to something better, that there might be a bigger picture that we just can't see yet.
And that leaves us with this question to think about in our own lives. What difficult chapter are you going through right now that might just be waiting for its final page to be written? Look, this story doesn't erase pain or hardship, but it does offer a really powerful dose of hope. It's a reminder that sometimes the end of the story is way better than we ever could have imagined from the beginning. Thanks for joining this explainer.